Good evening, and thank you for joining us for today's public forum. I'm City Manager Joe Neeb, and with me today is Ward 3 Councilor Judy Stubbs. Hi, Judy.
Good evening. How are you?
Are you ready for tonight?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that all of our participants or people watching online, Councilor Best sends her regrets. She was unable to attend tonight because she's at another meeting regarding cannabis legislation, which is another big thing that is happening within the state of New Mexico, is trying to figure out how to manage the recreational marijuana. And so that'll be an interesting one to see exactly how that goes out. There's a lot of work that the city has to do with that.
Definitely.
in order to make sure that we're regulating it properly in accordance with the New Mexico state law and all of the information that has to go with that. So just want to remind everyone to put your questions in the comments section. We want to make sure that your questions and concerns are addressed. We do have a series of questions that we've received over the last week and a half. We go out and we take a survey on questions that are important to those that may join us. And so we always start with those, and then we just kind of we digress from there.
Sure.
and we go into just about everything that we can. What everybody's asking, we may talk about the budget. We may talk about a lot of different things.
Good.
So.
Good.
I know one of the first questions that we've received out there over the last week is the city utilizing the road conditions report the city funded a couple of years ago to determine which roads to fix? And you know, I guess the quick answer to that is yes.
Yes.
It was a big topic in our budget, and I think that the challenge and the conversation at the city council level has been how to come up with enough funding in order to cover the amount of streets that we want to cover.
And if I may, I think it's important to know that staff under Joe's direction was able to come up with some additional money that we have not had before for roads here in Roswell. And if I'm not mistaken, it's around $13 million in our preliminary budget. So hopefully that'll hold, and we will be able to address some of the concerns that are out there.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. As we're going through the budget, we have done our preliminary budget, which is required by the state each year. That has actually been approved by the state as well.
Oh, wonderful. I didn't know.
We
Good.
received credit for that.
Good.
And we'll be doing the final budget at the end of July, which is really interesting because the budget actually starts July 1 and it runs till June 30th. So it's a fiscal year of running through the annual year for that. But but we're like 25 days into the budget before we approve the final budget. And the only reason it takes that long is because we have to, once we close the books at the end of June, we have to shore up all the numbers.
Sure.
We have to correct the previous budget to make sure that it is balanced at the end of the day. We balance out the expenses and the revenue, and then we move into the next year with exactly how much money we can move over. And so
I think it's important to know that we have to pay our bills up through June 30th, and you just don't have all that information at midnight on June 30th. So it's great that the state allows us some extra time to make sure we've dotted all our I's and crossed our T's.
And so the good thing is, and like with going right back to that question, is that we were able to last year. I should start with actually last year's budget through COVID. Mm-hmm. We actually pulled back the budget really hard. We removed about 101 jobs from the city. Nobody was forced to lay off or anything. They all left. They all retired early or moved on to different things. And we pulled back very hard on that budget. We went from a $140 million budget down to a $100 million budget as well.
Right.
So 101 jobs were out of that. And so we believe that the effort that we took with that budget actually brought us into this year in a very good point. Gross receipts tax has stayed very strong. for us, and so it's provided us additional money that we've placed back into this
Yes.
budget.
Yes.
And so we're going from a $9 million street improvement budget to a $13 million street improvement budget. I guess if we had a lot of extra cash, we would try for that 16 million mark that the road study actually attributed
Right.
to. If we wanted to do a lot of catch up on our streets, $16 million would allow us to get ahead of the
Yes.
curveball. Right now, I think we're riding right on top of that curveball and doing very well. Louis Nahar as our city engineer, Quinn Miller as our street superintendent, they are working hard to try to make every dollar last as long as they can. And so we are using that the road inventory quite a bit. I think one thing that we have put into this year's budget, which is really interesting, is that we also put a little money aside to go into the residential areas.
Right.
So as we do our road inventory, we look at the major arterials. So the areas like Main Street, areas like Atkinson and everything. And then we work our way from major arterials to minor arterials. We work from there to collectors and then down to neighborhood streets. And so as we spend that money, it seems like the neighborhood streets being the least intrusive
Right.
of roads, they're the ones that are always waiting longer than
Yes.
these ones that have a lot of traffic on them. And so we are putting a little bit of money aside in order to help start tackling within the neighborhoods again. And so that'll be really helpful as well. Another thing that we have done through that is put some money aside for sidewalks.
Yes.
And
Which I don't believe we've done before.
we
or in
have
a while.
not. Yeah, I think generally when we've worked on sidewalks, we would try to work those into the street
Yes.
projects, and
Yes.
it would just kind of be that value added within the
Yes.
street projects. And so now we're going to tackle with this year's budget. We're going to start tackling the sidewalks as well too, because I think the one thing that the city council has always wanted to make sure that happens is that we are very pedestrian friendly.
Must have.
We love our bicycling, we love our walking and everything. So we
Right.
want to make sure that we're putting enough money to
Yes.
help those things happen.
And it's great that we're able to do this. And if I can digress just a little bit, but it's thanks to all the citizens of Roswell. As most of you know, I do a lot of networking throughout the state, and I know you do as well. And so many municipalities were really hit badly
Yeah.
this year, and we really weren't like we expected. So thanks to all of you for maintaining use of local stores and facilities, and I feel really good about the fact that Roswell hung in there.
Yep, I agree. I know that with the road inventory, we are trying to make sure that we put out all this information in a graphical format as
Yes.
well as a written format. So if you want to know which streets are coming up for repair and everything, we're trying to get that information out there. We are going to Facebook now. We had the question or the concern at least shared with us, that the streets between Garden and College had been destroyed by the city, replacing the water mains and the bridge construction. The residential streets that were used as a detour while Garden Street was shut down to do the repairs of the water line and the bridge, they were also torn up thanks to the heavy truck traffic that ran through that area. And I guess the concern is that the impact of that project had on the neighborhood as people learned new cut throughs and not actually following all the detour signs that we had up there. For those things, again, we will take that concern and we'll share it with Louis Nahar, our chief city engineer, and we will make sure that he is aware of those concerns in the neighborhood. We'll send a crew out there to review that. Again, I know that Quinn Miller and the street crew, if there is any potholes or any bad breaks in the asphalt, we go out there and fix those as quickly as we're notified. If you have those areas identified, all we need is an address and a general location. You can use our Fix-It form on the website. That Fix-It form will put the information in a digital format. It goes right through our website to the department that is affected, and I'll tell you that I think staff has responded well through that system. A response gets there. If you want to call back for that, just put your information into it. It can be anonymous, or you can add your information, and we'll call you back and let you know exactly what is happening. I'm also seeing within that concern that there may be a water leak on the water main that was just replaced. I'm assuming that is probably in an area where the connections were made, because at some point in time, I mean, essentially you're taking the old pipe out, putting a new pipe in, but you have old pipe on either side. And that was one of the struggles we had with Garden on the early part of that water main. We had to find a location where we could actually make a good, clean connection. And so there was pipe failure that happened on down the line.
Right.
And so we had to go back in there and actually build the project bigger than what we intended it to be, because you really don't know what you're going to find until you dig it up.
That's right.
And so we went through that. This is an interesting question, and it'll go into it. It's regarding solid waste. But the question that we received online was, who decided where the trash bins in the alley are placed? And I think this individual is walking 3 houses in either direction to throw away their trash. And so I believe this question is related to the 300-gallon bins that we have in the alleyways. And I will tell you that our start, or our what is the best way to say that? Our standard for how we do these trash bins is that we use one 300-gallon trash bin for every 4 houses. And so that's how we start out with where to set the 300 gallons. I will say that the 300 gallons should be set equidistant between those 4 customers. But I believe that trash bins are very interesting, kind of like signage at times. They get their own legs and they walk.
They do that.
I know that we've had some trash bins out there that have actually been turned so that people can throw over the fence easier rather than walking into the alley and everything. But the decision on where those trash bins are set is, I'll just state that the director for the solid waste department is Abraham Chaparro. If you call solid waste, if you're having a challenge with that as far as those trash bins and everything, if you give them a call, they'll come back out and check. The only standard that we really have right now is we're trying to have one 300-gallon container operate for 4 houses. And then if conditions warrant, that there's all these conversations that we can have with how to do it a little bit differently.
Sure.
Probably another thing that might be nice to mention at this time as well too is that a lot of our areas that are where the alleyways are too small or the trucks had to back in and out, we've started using the 96-gallon totes. Now the nice thing about the 96-gallon totes is that it is only your trash that gets put into them.
Right.
And so they're wheeled out to the front of the house generally. And the same truck that picks up the 300s can pick up these 96s. So it's a side loader truck and it can handle those things. So, and so we have that ability in that structure. But if you give solid waste a call, they can at least go out there and look and make sure that the bins are properly located within what our standard is for that. Please do not forget to place your questions or comments in the software, the comments section, and we will get back to answering those. I guess we'll keep going on the questions. Sure. I don't know if we need to digress any farther from that. But we received another, and again, it's not really in a line of a question, but we have a citizen out there that the water valve to the home needs to be replaced. It was checked by Central Control 6 months ago and still has not been replaced. All I would ask again is give me a call if it delays that long. Let me know what the issue is. Let me know the address, and we will make sure that somebody gets that taken care of. I don't think we have any staff members out there that want these things forgotten.
Right. I'm sure that's true.
And so the idea will be is that just let me know which one it is. We are continually out, we're constantly out there. We have a good crew that go out on a regular basis and is doing that work. So I'm not sure what the conditions are of how this one may have been missed or lost. If you'd like, again, use the Fix-It form off the website. You can put in a reminder work order and we'll get it taken care of. Okay, moving on from there. Let's talk a little bit. This one here is going to be a very difficult one to answer, but again, as we do these forums, we take every question from the floor and we'll try to provide a response. But this one is related to a fire department concern. And essentially this claim that is being presented by the citizen or whoever this individual is stating that the city's fire department covered up a hazing incident and didn't reprimand the people guilty of the action and was not met any criminal charges. If you're aware that we went through that a few months ago, it ended up walking through all of that. I'm not going to get into a lot of the personnel matters. I can tell you, matter of fact, we did look at it as whether or not anything was issued as criminal. It was found to not be criminal in nature. And so it became more of a condition of correcting behavior that is not acceptable for our department. And I'll tell you that Chief Miller managed the system very well. All the personnel affected have been, all the issues, let's just call it that, all the issues have been addressed, and we consider this a closed issue. Again, we've worked through it as best we can. I believe that everybody involved, whether it be on either side of the issue, are aware of at least the responses that they needed to know. This is a non-issue at this point in time, and I'm not going to get into what type of reprimands or what level or any of that nature. I believe that once we were able to determine the severity of what the issue was, it was addressed and it was taken care of. And I will just leave it at that. Going into, this is a question for Councilor Stubbs. What project are you most excited about for your ward?
The UFO Festival is going to be in Ward 3 this year at Cielo Grande. So that I'm really excited about.
And I brought my hat just in
well,
case.
I couldn't tell
UFO
exactly.
Festival hat.
Great.
We have all the swag,
yes,
and it's
we
available
do.
for everybody that would love to have some of the swag with that. You know, and the neat thing about the UFO Festival right now as well, too, it's at Cielo Grande.
Yes.
But it is also downtown.
Right.
It is also on the north end. It is also on the south end. We have the UFO Festival on steroids.
We really do.
And I believe that we're very excited for this. You know, Main Street has been preparing all the stuff for the downtown area, and the city has been working on all the other pieces. The cool thing about this UFO Festival that starts July 2nd through July 4th is that the 4th of July event falls within the UFO Festival area.
Right.
And so we have great entertainment out there at Cielo Grande, or Wool Bowl, I believe, is where that entertainment is at. And so we have...
The Wool Bowl's in Ward 3 also.
It is.
I'm pretty sure it is.
There we go.
Yes, it is.
If it's not, we have to do
we'll move it.
We have to, we have to do a redistricting this year because it's the 10-year anniversary for the census, and
we'll move it.
so we'll just put it in
you.
Ward 3. We'll give you all the good pieces. So yeah, but it's like the UFO Festival is going to be really good. I think everybody's tired of being tied down and everything. I think we have a little bit of everything. What's really cool about this year as well too is we're opening up the rec center, the zoo. I mean, all of our services are having some. Now we have the planetarium, that's a stable part of the UFO Festival, but we have all these other services that we're bringing to bear to present this image of what the UFO Festival means to us.
Exactly.
And so we really enjoy all of that. Okay, Councilor Stubbs, here's another one. What is the most important to you? Now, we've talked about the Councilor's Corner, and you've shared a lot about what you stand for, what you mean, but what is the most important to you?
Do you know, I love this position as a city councilor. I have said before, and I'll always say it, is my real passion is public policy. I enjoy doing the right thing as far as policy is concerned. And so in that regard, probably my favorite thing is really talking to people and a collaborative effort with everything that I do. I don't work behind a closed door. I don't try to surprise people at a council meeting. And I want to hear from my constituents and from anybody else in the city that wants to talk to me, because that's what I believe I'm here to do. And like I say, I thoroughly enjoy the problem solving and hearing what the issues are and learning what people's concerns are. And I tell you what, it's really nice to hear, Judy, you did a good job too. It happens once in a while.
It does, and it should, and it's very difficult. I think that we always remember when the things don't go well.
Sure.
And we seem to lose sight when it's everything that needs to happen. But I think you would touch on something, and I know that everybody on the city council is this way. Contact me.
Yes, please.
Let me know what is going on in your viewpoint and everything. Whether you have a difference of opinion or not, it doesn't really matter. You're wanting to have that input because it does influence how you tackle an issue.
It does, very much so, of course.
And, you know, I always say that an elected official, it's one of the toughest jobs out there because you're going to make 49% of the people unhappy one way or another.
Or the other,
usually.
right.
And so I think it's very important for that. And so thank you for what you do. And I enjoy working with each and every one of you.
And we're all different. We're all very different. So
I think that's the uniqueness of our group.
It is, truly is.
Okay, we're going to take a question from Facebook. And there are an enormous amount of plastic bags all over the town. Is there a plan to do away with bags or bring in the correction facility to clean up our town? This is an interesting, I have a very long answer for it a little bit. There is no plan, at least at the city level, that I've been involved in that we're going to say we're going to ban plastic bags. And I'm not even sure if the city, because we're a statutory city within New Mexico, I don't know if we have that ability to have that impact that we can truly ban the bags. If we were home rule, we could probably establish those kind of guidelines. Yes. The second part of the question is, or bring in the correction facility to clean up our town. And I will say that, you know, the correction facility, the jail is within Chavez County Jail. They utilize most of the individuals that are on their cleanup crews and their gangs, the people that are willing to come out and help do this community service. Right. They utilize a lot of them in Chavez County. We rely a lot on the municipal court and the release of community service for those individuals that go to the municipal court and are unable to take care of the fines or the process for municipal ordinance violations. So we rely heavily upon Judge Seski in order to provide us with individuals that are willing to do community service. And we would always like a lot of them. I will state that if you find any of those issues out there, we're not going to wait on volunteer help, or we're not going to wait on the community service as well too. We will send our crews out there and do cleanups as well too. I know Cielo Grande, we've done 2 or 3 cleanups that we've stopped because what happens a lot with the plastic bags and everything, we find that paraphernalia that shouldn't be out there as well. And so we are doing that. I will state that keep Roswell beautiful. All you have to do is contact us. We have cleanup supplies available to all the citizens. We appreciate each and every person that's going to help. I've talked to a couple civic organizations that are planning some cleanup events as well too. And I expect that the city will do some type of a reassignment to do additional cleanup at some point in time as well too. Moving on to another question, Councilor Stubbs, what is your proudest accomplishment as a councilor?
Wow. I've been on this council over 19 years, not consecutively, on and off. And I'm trying to think, you know, the first thing that pops into my mind is Mayor Bill Owen asked me to chair a committee many years ago, which was the All America City seeking that status with the Civic League. And it took us 3 years, and it was 3 solid years of working, I think, going to their competition 3 different times, and we finally made it. But again, it would not have happened had it not been for the amazing cooperation of this whole community and their dedication to getting it done, and the incredible people I had to work with. So that was probably one of the most proud things that I've done, is to actually be able to bring that home to Roswell.
Yeah. And in 19 years, even not altogether, you've seen the city change so much.
Very much.
And
look how young I am.
You are.
Thank you.
You are. You must have started when you were
I did.
12,
I started very
11, maybe right in your early teens, right?
Right. Yeah. Sure.
But it's Roswell has a very interesting history.
Yes.
Yes. In 1947 we had a UFO crash right outside of town. And
who knew?
Well, that's right. 1967, the Walker Air Force Base closed down, and we kept moving on that. We overcame that. I really believe, we maintained the infrastructure, all that infrastructure, even though we lost that much population that quickly with the base closure, and I think that was a really big challenge that we had within that structure. And I think that you go into all of the other things that impacted the nation throughout, the course of history as well too. It always took a little bit longer to get to Roswell.
Yes.
But we got impacted the same way, and everything. And so I think it's.
You mentioned earlier, though, I think what's interesting too are all the amenities that we have here. You were talking about the New Mexico Municipal, what am I saying? The Institute, sorry, blah, blah, blah. And what a novelty that is, and what an amazing job they're doing. We secured ILEA, which was a real coup, the only one in the United States. So, people are recognizing outside of Roswell what we have to offer here as well.
I think that was something that was really cool as well too, is that, Roswell is a very diverse community. I mean, you talk about NIMI. The Military Institute is a worldwide organization. ILEA the same way. It brings in people from all different countries. The world. Our air center, we have planes parked out there from Norway, and
we never heard of them before.
That's right, a lot of them out there, and so there's all of this activity out there, and we're very diverse. I think the challenges come is that all these voices are trying to be heard. They want to make sure that they are taken care of, and part of your job as a city councilor is to make sure that they are all taken care of fairly, equitably, and all of that. Yes. We are actually getting down to the end of our conversation, and so I want to make sure that everybody's aware. Don't wait for a public forum to reach out. Reach out to the city councilors now. Visit roswell-nm.gov, the website, for more information. Hit us up on the emails. Hit us up on just call. We'll try to address everything. But you can also go to ufofestival.com for more information on this festival. We're hoping it's going to be a great event for everybody. It's time we get out. It's time we do that. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining in with us. We wish everybody to have a safe and wonderful evening. So again, we just want to say thank you, and please contact us with anything you need. So thank you again.